wish I had a vape though.
Dude, it's called fucking buy one.
I
All you
know.
need to do is buy one.
I know. I can't. It's not the issue that it's just discipline, like tend to be like indulgent is probably the word. So
I live in
like
abundance.
I live in abundance, and like when I'm laser focused, I'm laser focused. But when I'm like
You're laser
Jones,
focused.
when I'm jonesing, I'm jonesing, and it's just like
You're jonesing
like,
right now?
kind of jonesing, right?
Oh, that's too bad. This is my last and final one. After it dies, it's dead. And the next one, the next time I will get one is if it's a long drive or if it's vacation. And I don't foresee those until the next year. So I think I should be good.
You think? Well, yeah, you're right. It's possible because at least we're gonna avoid trying to indulge in that stuff here in New York. So yeah, man. Shit, dude, we're approaching the end of the year, and
Approaching. You almost said that we were at the end of the year and we're really
I
not
know
there yet.
I caught myself right there for that too. But we're
Yes.
approaching the end of the year, and
Feels like it.
I'm glad that it's fall. Number one, I am a fall baby, so I do like the colder weather.
Okay.
But it's weird because like for me, I kind of get a little sad when it approaches my birthday. It's like simultaneously like a happy day and also like I don't know, just maybe because also there's less sunlight out, and I feel like when
You
I get out
always
of work
felt that
now,
way?
I feel like it's always like a introspective time for me
Okay.
because
Okay.
yeah, obviously as you approach like, the end of one year, which again, I think the reason why I brought up like you're coming to the end of the year is also it's more of like my birthday's coming up, which is very close to the end of the year, but it's in November. So we're about like a month or two away from it. And it's like, oh crap, what have I done? Have I accomplished anything that I've set out to since the year before or as like New Year's resolutions? And yeah, like it's once I come to the season again, I think it's a combination of colder is good because now I don't have to worry about bugs and like insects like coming on me and vice versa.
Hey,
I
yo.
pause.
Okay.
But yeah, no, like once it starts like getting to this time of year, like I just noticed when I was leaving work today that it's getting pretty dark outside, and I kind
Yes.
of I kind of hate it just because at this time of season, I go to work, it's already dark. And then I come out of work, it's dark again. So the good thing about summertime is that you can go in when it's light and it's still light outside. But now we're coming to the point of year where it's like it's dark when you go in and out.
The times are changing when I go to the gym and it's bright going in and it is starting to get dark coming out.
Yeah.
But dark both times, that is a little depressing. I cannot. That is too much for me. That's too much.
Well, dude, what
darkness.
time do you roll into work? Because like for me, I roll into work like 8:30. Well, not 8 o'clock, but 8:30 usually is when I like roll into work. So it's like still kind of
I gotta get there at 9. It's bright as fuck.
Okay. So you're
wait. So by 8:30, it's still not bright as fuck yet?
Well, it's starting to get darker. And then also like come daylight savings time, like when it kicks in again, it's gonna be dark when you're like still kind of like very like dimly lit out. And it's gonna be very dark when you go outside. And it's just like fuck.
No,
Like,
that's too much. I hate that. I don't want that. I can't have that.
When it comes to just seasonal stuff, especially this time of year, I mean, aside from it being my birthday and I'm just like kind of reflecting on like, the commencement of like the next year. And then also just as it gets darker, I'm like, oh crap, am I going to want to go out anymore? Or am I going to want to go outside? I still feel like I do love going out to things, but when there's daylight, there's always like motivation. When it's nighttime, back then when I was still in college and clubbing, it's like, oh crap, we're going out at nighttime. Now it's like just stay home or hang out at a
It
friend's
saddens
place.
me that people do that. Because me and my homeboy last year, Ryan, shout out to him, we were actually going out to the bar during the winter time. And occasionally we get like other people to come with us and it would be a good time. But it would be really a hard sell to get people to come out. I get it. It's totally fucking cold. Like some of them drive, some of them don't. It's even more annoying to get there. If it's like warm and still kind of bright, there's a higher chance for people to come out, and it's actually very comfortable. But man, the weather is really it's not even just the weather. I feel like
Mhm.
people almost just they shut down. What do you call that? Like winter depression?
Yeah, or seasonal depression or
Seasonal
winter depression.
depression? Yeah.
Yeah, which that's what again, I guess I bring this up because I guess that's the feeling that as we close out September and go into October, we're like in fall like mode now. It starts getting colder and it's weird. Like I said, on one hand, if you ask me how I feel, I love winter. I love fall even more just because I like, wearing coats. I like,
You love the
accessorizing a
fall
bit more. Yeah, I
fashion.
love fall. Like fall in fashion is awesome. Like you can't really do that in summertime because you wear like what, like a t-shirt, maybe a button down, but there's only so
Even
many.
being tipsy. Even being
Yeah,
tipsy and like, outside in the cold feels
yeah,
nice. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. That's the thing. So in one hand, I really enjoy like the fall, winter, and then I guess in psychologically, I think of it as oh. Dang, it's like the end of a year, and then just I don't know, man. I hope I'm not like bringing your vibes down, but like
No, no, never that. But like,
you
come
know,
on. Wait till the leaves start falling all over the ground and shit. And then it's like around for me, the cutoff is like
mhm.
right about in October. Any colder than October, like after Halloween, is too cold now. But that is the most comforting time. Like cool. That's as cool as
Yeah,
it could get for me.
because you can like wear like denim jackets. You can wear like yeah, you have like a whole
Yes.
selection of like sweaters and coats and vice versa. But
Holy
yeah,
shit, dude.
once it hits like December, then it's like brick. And it's like ugh. Or January, it's like an even worse where now like we have to wear like the super thick like North Face like thick jackets and stuff like that.
I have a lot more winter wardrobe than I do have summer. I only started falling in love with dressing for the summertime just this year in my life.
You didn't feel
But
that like you
winter,
liked winter before so much?
winter just you just have so much more options. You know, you're gonna have a couple different coats, which is gonna change your outfit naturally.
Mhm.
But when it's the summertime, it's a little bit more rigid. I'm not saying it's hard and difficult. It's definitely not difficult. But
Mm.
on paper, naturally, you have less things to layer on.
I'm excited for what comes towards the end of this year.
What are you
Um,
excited for the most? We have 3 months left ish. What are you, how much more memories can you make? Or where do you think you'll be making memories in the next 3 months?
my birthday, Christmas, Thanksgiving. Um,
And you're going to be celebrating Christmas here. I felt like I
yeah,
haven't celebrated the holidays with you in mad long.
I know. Actually, so that is the one thing that I'm looking forward to the most. I mean, I always go back to the Philippines, or I don't want to say always, but I've frequently gone back to the Philippines in December just because I have a lot of family back home in the Philippines.
But you'll be
But
here.
yeah, and I'm gonna be here, and the one thing that I have missed, more than anything, is spending it with friends and also spending it with the family that you make, not just the family that you're born with, right? Prior, I think we're talking about way back, like back in like the the teen years of the 2010s. Like, I feel like I used to have like get-togethers at my place during my birthday, and then like and Christmas time, and then yeah, started visiting family back at home during Christmas, and it's so much fun in the Christmas time in the Philippines. Actually, like right now, it's already Christmas time in the Philippines. Like the moment September
Yes, it's
hits,
true.
you have your paroles, you have every decoration out there, and like once you're actually in Christmas time, you see fireworks. Like Philippines goes all out. But I've missed being back here with you guys, and I know, of course, for example, some of our friends have like kids already, so we're not gonna all be together kind of in the same way. But I'm just excited to be able to just spend it back here and just have get-togethers with you guys and just invite people over, make a bunch of food and stuff.
Where I saw a Instagram story
Mhm.
with holiday music and it really got me into the mood already. It was only a couple days ago. But when you hear like Christmas music, piano version, it almost kind of like hits you different. Especially in the city.
Yeah.
New York in the holidays is like a vibe.
We talk about like Union Square or like, Bryant Park has like, I think the Christmas shops that they open up and then like they bring out the ice skating
When was
rink.
the last time you ice skated? Fuck that. I'm not trying to break my ankles, dude. Get the fuck out of here, dog. I'll watch motherfuckers do it.
Probably when we were still with PAO, and that's like a lifetime ago. But I do want to go ice skating. I mean, I feel like there's so much that I feel like
Do you really
you know,
want to though? You want to put on the skates and go onto the ice for real?
I've always wanted to, because I've never rollerbladed, and I want to learn how to do that. So I feel like I should ice skate, which is just kind of a precursor to rollerblading or the opposite of it.
I
But
think the opposite.
I think it's just something that I want to have as like I'm able to do that too. But it does hurt your feet.
Bro.
Your birthday's coming up too, dude. Your birthday's actually before mine.
No, nothing crazy, dude. For real. And it doesn't even feel weird to say. Not really. I'm going to do my obligatory thing with the family. And I was kind of on the fence about maybe doing something, maybe not. We were technically going to possibly do a combined birthday with my boy Ryan, but then he celebrated it last week. And we had a good time there. Very short-lived. I got to tell you about that. Very, very short-lived. But I think I'm pretty satisfied with celebrating my birthday quiet. I don't even want to say it's low key, because sometimes when you say low key, like there's something, but it's low. No, like it's for real low key. There's nothing really going on. And I'm totally fine with that. I have no problem just laying down and just, I don't know, doing nothing.
Want to go out to the bar?
Yeah, we could definitely go out to the bar. That's what usually happens. Like you don't plan anything. Chances are you end up going to the bar on Saturday. It is on a Saturday. Dominique will be at Ryan's. Things will naturally unfold. But will I plan anything? I don't think so, man. I'm old already, dog. And
You're not old.
I know. I'm not old, but like still. Dude, we've celebrated enough, right? Have we not? Have we not though? We have. We have killed it when we were on our prime heyday of celebrating birthdays. And I foresee that we will continue to do it, but I just choose not to do it on mine. I'm sure we're going to go fucking crazy on your birthday. But for me, nah, we're going to keep it chill.
I think it also evolves. Like we don't necessarily have to party with like, our livers like basically completely destroyed like we used to. Like we can change or like do things that are just equally as fun, again, without like being completely hungover.
You're making me think like I should do something. Whenever someone asks me if I should do something, it always gives like this speech where I go, I'm not gonna really do anything. But then like when I think about it, I'm like, how far is it? Maybe I could do something hella like maybe I could play. Like I don't know what the fuck.
But I am slightly enabler and instigator in this case.
I guess so, yes. But I feel like that's how it happens all the time. I don't know.
Pressure.
It's like going into it's like going into vacation and then not being excited about it before going. And then when the actual vacation is there, then you are excited about it. That type of thing.
Yeah, I get that feeling. Because, again, I feel like a lot of vacations, not including like our most recent one, but like it has to kind of hit me when the time comes. And then I'll be like more like full swing with it.
100%, man. What are you going to be for Halloween? I already know what I'm going to wear for Halloween. If there is a Halloween party, I already know what I'm going to wear.
What are you going to wear? I actually have no idea.
No, you first. You have no idea?
Australian Olympic contender ray gun.
Oh, yes. That would actually be pretty good. There's a lot of
people who are like, I think I saw a photo in like, I think in Dragon Con, like this convention in Atlanta, this huge, like, convention for like nerds.
For dragons?
Well, if not dragons, it's actually just for like people who love like comic book, animation, and all that culture. They meet up in Atlanta. And yeah, I think there's a whole bunch of them who dressed up as Raygun from like the most recent Olympics.
I wonder why. That's kind of like a weird connection though.
Just because it's a meme. I feel like memes are easy to like bond over, and it's even funnier when you get to do it with like a bunch of people. So it's like a good analogy could be like the Spider-Man meme, where like everyone's kind of pointing at each other and stuff like that.
But at least Spider-Man is actually like a drawn character,
an iconic,
right? Animation within Dragon Con, he kind of fits in.
Yeah,
but for Halloween, I'm gonna be wearing all white. So then I can look like one of those dudes that got invited to Diddy's party. That would be crazy, dog. That's going to be so good. I got invited to the all-white party.
Oh my God. The whole thing with Diddy like is kind of crazy. And it's just funny because like 50 Cent was like roasting him to oblivion. But
50 Cent has allegedly been working on a documentary for the last 3 years surrounding exactly what is happening to Diddy. Apparently, for the longest time, it has
Mhm.
been under a crazy bidding war between all of the streaming services. Hulu's in the mix, Max or whatever the fuck. But Netflix won, and
Oh.
he is pretty much giving them 50 Cent is pretty much giving them everything he's been working on and everything he's collected surrounding the allegations and the case that is P. Diddy right now. Are you following it at all?
Oh yeah. I mean,
I
again,
go fucking deep, bro.
um, not as much as probably you do in the sense of like, I mean, again, like allegations of minors and P Diddy had like invited like
He invited 50 Cent to
some,
go shopping. And then he was like, yo, what the fuck is he talking about? But
yo,
not
this is
shopping,
that's
but he
like
was going to pay for it too.
he literally said it's like mad. That's like that's gay and stuff like that. And so I think since then he's had such a bad like he's been like against P Diddy for since that entire moment. And so I feel like yeah, it's just that he would basically be grooming people. He would be bribing people in the industry. Like he kind of was that power player of a producer who, again, would pull strings, and if he didn't get his way, he'd find a way to curse you to do so.
He's like
Um,
the music industry's worst nightmare. Like what they tell you
right.
to watch out for is exactly true.
From years ago when I was like talking with like, a friend about this, but it's like, yeah, like she didn't like, Diddy because of the fact it's like, how do you make a song like you're supposed to be best friends with like, what do you call with Biggie. And so from there, like when Biggie dies, this guy creates a song, and it becomes like a top hit. When Aaliyah died, like Timbaland was like, again, one of her producers, and he was, I gotta take some time off from this. Don't really want to do anything right now. Diddy's like, yo, we gotta make money off this whole thing. I'm gonna make money off. I'm missing you.
And not even just that, he owned all of his music, then released 2 Biggie albums, which were like, he just made money off of that for years. He's still making money
Right.
off of him today for that thing. It's crazy because there's just so much. Yes, it is entertaining that it is P. Diddy and it is someone in a music genre that I listen to.
Right.
There's so many angles with it because when you look at the videos with Justin Bieber and you look
Mm.
at his videos with other celebrities, for whatever reason, I don't know why we are totally cool with it being fucking weird like that, but it's like
Mhm.
stupid obvious that you could see Justin Bieber was like clearly uncomfortable. Like you could see P. Diddy trying to touch his body at one point to see if he had a wire. He was making him feel guilty when he was like a young child growing up, like for not hanging out with him and shit. It was just like, it's blatantly obvious, but we just have not said anything about it. It's totally normal within the music industry. And outside of that, the second factor is the Epstein thing, right? It's almost not just about Diddy. It's almost because it's so blatant. Other people within the music industry and other entertainment industry know about. Why haven't they said anything? He was married for J-Lo in, I don't know, 2000, whichever the fuck back in the day, for about 3 years. Don't quote me. She didn't know anything about that.
I feel like there's
She
a
was
bunch of
in the
different-
white parties, bro. J-Lo was in the white
Yeah.
parties.
It's funny that you bring up JLo because even JLo's kind of having like her own like shit fest at the moment. Where like
What's up with Ben Affleck?
you've known JLo to be this diva. Now, also
She's
here's
a
the thing.
monster.
She's a monster, but I also don't think she's that talented.
Oh,
Call
yeah.
me if you compare it to like her contemporaries. And I really watched a YouTube video at like work the other day, talking about how like Tommy Mottola, the former husband of Mariah Carey, out of spite, would like choose JLo to help propel her to like fame and kind of take down Mariah Carey in that. One thing that Mariah Carey can do is sing, but she can't dance. JLo can dance. She could kind of sing,
Can she
but
dance?
she can perform. Yeah, and she can dance, and like she's like,
Okay.
yeah. So that's the thing. Like, so her whole like I think rise to fame, aside from Selena, of course, and everything. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
like
they said if it wasn't for that, she wouldn't even be a star.
yeah, and she's had some good hits. Although for me, she's not like again. If you were to compare it to like Whitney, Mariah Carey, I don't think she's like even holding a candle to them. But she's had some good hits over the years. But then like her recent album that she dropped this year didn't
There was an
hit like, you know.
album.
Yeah, she had an album that like pretty much tanked. She had a tour that was supposed to be like this new album, and then she turned it to like a greatest hits tour. But then I think she ended up canceling a lot of it because again, she was now going through a divorce with Ben Affleck. You know, there were rumors prior to this about like, you know, them breaking up. And then she released a documentary that she was trying to paint herself, you know, in this light of being like an artist, but it's like, you know, her diva attitude really kind of like carried itself forward, and like TikTok was vicious about her, like her background, her history, and just
They
how
can
like
smell the fakeness, dog.
now she's pretty much just on the retreat from like, again, this was supposed to be I think a year of like her kind of like
Her
I guess
comeback here.
her comeback year, you know, and like some artists are able to stay relevant or even like go into different genres pretty well. Like Beyonce. Again, she came out with a country album and she's still creating hit after hit while still being able to perform and do all these different things. And she works hard. She does. Versus J-Lo, she has a lot of people working under her and she just has a very terrible attitude, you know. And it's funny that you bring up that she actually, I think part of that propel to fame was when she was dating Diddy. And I think she was like arrested with Diddy at one time where like I think Diddy had like gun possession and stuff like that. And just yeah, like she definitely did not like, you know, did know about all these things that were going on in the industry. And
Make no
yeah,
mistake, Jennifer Lopez is still Jenny from the block, son.
I don't know, dude. Also, like that same like video that I watched, you know, she had a lot of ghost singers on there where you think it's her. No, it's actually people who are like able to kind of keep similar vocal inflections. And then you listen to them singing in real time and you're like, fuck.
It's
That's
not really
J-Lo.
J-Lo. That's fucking
That's
weird.
not-
That's not
Yeah,
even.
yeah, dude. Dude, I gotta send you the video because like, kind of like how you did like a weird deep dive into like Diddy. Not that I did a deep dive into JLo, but it's just weird how the algorithm
Yes.
show pops up here. It's just like, oh, like the downfall of like JLo.
J-Lo 100% going to be hiding her fucking head after this Diddy shit.
Well,
for real,
there's
for real.
also like there's a bunch of people this year who tanked. Also, Katy Perry didn't do well, and she released another album, and she like collabed with Dr. Luke, who's also guilty of like, again, just
I saw
like-
that shit. That was so weird. But like, hold on. Guilty of what? Because I thought he was just being guilty of pettiness. What did he do? That was a crime.
Well, no, the whole thing with Kesha, like, you know, like sexual misconduct and basically barring
really?
her from being able to produce music. And so for like 5-6 years, she was basically barred from being able to do anything like music wise, to the point that like the one thing that I remember in more recent times was like Zed basically gave her a song, or like he had a song that he produced that was with a different artist, but then he recorded that with Kesha as like the main vocals. So
Wait,
yeah.
hold on. What's the name of the person that Katy Perry was working with for this album?
Dr. Luke.
Dr. Luke. And Dr. Luke is the one with allegations?
Yeah, and Dr. Luke, if you know his history, is the reason why like again Katy Perry propelled to fame with like, you know, Teenage Dream. Like the entire album was basically produced by him. So she ended up
It was a kind of a good album though. I can't lie.
Really
Katy
good.
Perry's music back in the day was hitting.
In the past, like, you know, 5 years, she hasn't really had an album that's like kind of like struck gold the way that she did with Teenage Dream. So despite the allegations, she went back to the producer that had helped her get to fame to begin with. But it becomes problematic
that was her latest album.
Yeah,
And it becomes
that's
problematic how?
because of the fact that it's promoting like the independence and strength of women, and she's producing it with someone
Oh.
who is like, again, heavily accused of allegations of sexual misconduct on Kesha and I believe a bunch of other women.
Let me
So
ask you a
it's like-
question though. Do you think her album failed because and don't say both, okay? Do you
Mhm.
think her album failed because she worked with somebody with sexual misconduct and allegations? Or do you think her album failed because come on, bro, the music sucked?
It sucked. We'll go with that.
Not to throw hate and shade onto Katy Perry.
No, I
But
actually love Katy Perry. That's not even
when
a
a
question
hit
here.
is a hit, it's a fucking hit and
Yeah.
you know it, baby. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, it's not about like putting aside like the allegations,
It was still kind of sucky.
it was pretty sucky. Like you listen to it, you're just like, oh, it does feel kind of dated. It doesn't feel like an evolution of her stuff. And we talk about like Sabrina Carpenter, where like you think of music now that kind of tells a story, right? And
Yes.
Katie's is kind of stuck in kind of like a time capsule where it's from an era that wasn't quite the same, but again, it doesn't really tell a story. It doesn't really bring anything new. It doesn't feel like Katie telling anything new from her side. So if you listen to like Ariana, you listen to Taylor, you listen to a whole bunch of like female artists now, and like their sound does change transition, but I do feel like they're telling a story here. And so her stuff doesn't really feel like it's doing that. And it just it
Interesting.
feels more retro, if not trying to recapture the magic that she had back then. But it's like it's been more than like 14 years past since like Teenage Dream came out. And like, at least everyone else, again, like I'm not the hugest fan of Taylor, but like you go to like 1989 from like Red and even to like her first album, like you kind of do see like her music kind of evolve, and she knows how to tell a story. Like that's one thing that I feel like a lot of people relate to, is that she can tell a story. This one doesn't feel, I guess it's like deep or raw enough. And that's the thing. The music sucks. And just further amplified by the fact that it sucks and she went back to her old collaborator. So that just makes it even more egregious. But prime number one is that the music just wasn't good. And that's like,
I think the court of general opinion, whatever the fuck that is called, because we were talking about J Lo and we are talking about Katy Perry, right?
Yeah,
it's weird. I think the court of public opinion says that Katy Perry, you can't really blame her, because I have a feeling people still got mad love for her, even if her album bombed. It's okay. It's whatever. Like she didn't do anything bad. But with J Lo, her album bombed, but she's still getting shit on. Like I don't really see Katy Perry getting shit on. That's how I feel. Like
because
maybe a little bit
Katie's
here, a little bit
like,
there, but
Katie's a far more decent human
that's what I'm
being.
talking about.
J-Lo has been notorious that like you can't look at her in the car. Like if you're driving her and you can't look at her, just you're not allowed to look at her if you're not like,
So
if you're like
fucking weird.
hired by her, right? And yeah, I think there's this one in the same video where like basically, so she had a bunch of like dancers who were like auditioning, right? And so I think they've been auditioning this whole day. And then she comes in the room and she fires everyone who is a Virgo. Yeah. Like she literally asked, like, all right, so who's a Virgo in this room? People answer, and she's like, yeah, you're all let go. The fuck? Like,
because you want to know what it is? She learned from the best P. Diddy, son, and he has 1,000 bottles of baby oil, bitch. Dude. You want to know what's crazy about that P. Diddy shit? And this is going to be a wild allegation. But
what is it?
They know it's wild. They feel it's wild. But I'll tell you why it's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Because we live in an existence where Justin Bieber, when he was a child, got sexually assaulted while under supervision of P. Diddy for 48 hours. And videos of it exist. They exist in this world. We haven't seen it. They're not public. The courts have it 100%. But I am 99.9% sure that we live in a world where that there are videos of Justin Bieber getting the R word. I won't even say that word. There's many words I will say that's fucked up, but the R word is not one of those words I will say.
Damn, dude. Actually, it's funny because I think Usher also deleted a bunch of his like tweets and like stuff off like X. So, and Usher is also part of like
Usher was
Bieber's
groomed by
rise.
P. Diddy too.
Yeah. So
he was legal guardian at one point of his life.
Yeah, and I think
Usher's legal guardian at one point in his life was Sean P. Diddy Combs. Brother Love. What the fuck?
It's kind of twisted now that we're kind of talking about like P. Diddy. So the song with again, to honor Biggie, right? I'll Be Missing You samples Sting, I'll Be Watching You. And if you ever listen to that song by itself, it's very creepy.
Oh, like if you want to analyze like the lyrics to it, yeah,
So
it is
if you
kind of
kind of
much.
think of it this way, it's just that's a creeper song, and it's very much in line. Like it's almost poetic that it's
Oh,
lined up with P Diddy. But yeah, dude, it's. I mean, yeah, I feel like the dude's complicit with a lot of shit. Also when I think about the rap era, and you had East Coast versus West Coast, and then for that whole deal, it's like you'll find enough articles or people talking like that, like, oh, P Diddy was definitely like involved with like the death of Biggie and like Tupac. And
oh, for sure.
I
Now,
I
now, a
agree
hundred
for
percent.
sure. Like
Now,
100%,
100%.
like, Suge Knight is 100% still involved, but yeah, like complicit, definitely Diddy also. And damn, it's crazy. Like there's such a reckoning that's happening in when it comes to music. But yeah, a lot of stuff
It's
that
a
you told me right
reckoning of
now
the
is
rich and
just
famous, bro.
is news. I didn't know about the whole thing with Bieber, and that's like, dude,
Dude,
that's
it's really, really fucking weird. It's really, really fucking weird. And then there's
shit.
like, it corroborates with some early footage from Keeping Up with the Kardashians, where I think Chloe was like kind of getting close with Diddy, and Courtney was asking her like, "Oh, so you know about Chloe's new friends, huh? Like Diddy and whatever the fuck she was naming other motherfucking people." And she ended up Chloe ended up saying that she went to a party, and it sounds like a joke because it sounds so outlandish, but she says that she went to a party where she goes 75% of the people were butt naked and Justin Bieber was there. Like it sounds so, they say that explicitly in this episode. It made it on TV, right? And it's so outlandish and it doesn't even make any sense, and it's right in front of your face, but for whatever reason, like society will, I don't know, that doesn't trigger something in our brain to go, what was that for real, for real? Like that must be investigated right now. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
there
dude.
was there was a podcast I was listening to where, you know, the feeling of ayo, when you say ayo to something, when you say something maybe like a little homophobic, homosexual, whatever, someone goes ayo, right? And it's a joke, right? And
Yeah.
that's totally fine. But this weirdness of this uber sexual culture and perversionness is almost becoming ayoable, where we're kind of just like, it doesn't really mean anything. You know what I'm saying? Like it happens, like we're letting it go. And I'm like, it was blatant in our face. You can't say that we were really, really, truly surprised about this.
I feel like I mean, the entertainment industry grooms a lot of kids. There's a lot of docs coming out now talking about like, especially like the Nickelodeon ones, uh, that kids are being groomed or like mistreated. And it's like you have these predators in the form of producers, basically, right? And it's like, I don't want to say it's accepted, but I guess it's like, it's not a secret that that happens. And it's just like, you know, it's fucked up. It's really fucked up. Like again, you think about Harvey Weinstein and his whole deal with like the film industry, where like his iron grip over like productions was like so strong that like I think I don't know if it's a rumor or if it's confirmed already, but like for example, like Brendan Fraser, I think called out Harvey Weinstein, and he was basically blacklisted for years off movies until like eventually they
That's
had
why they
enough evidence.
blacklisted Cat Williams.
Yeah, and it's like a whole bunch of people who tried taking down like Harvey ended up getting blacklisted and like kind of shunned by like
Dude, isn't that scary? Don, think
like
about it.
yeah.
When we were in the heyday of Cat Williams getting buried and crushed, I don't know, but I was under the impression that, oh yeah, Cat Williams is like a crackhead or whatever, or like, yeah, that's kind of not in the normal. They did such a good job to destroy him that even I didn't even second guess what was
Yeah.
happening. And now
But
all of a sudden you're realizing, you're like, oh shit, no wonder there is a real reason to why that happened to him. It wasn't just because he was fucking wilding or on drugs or whatever or getting carried away. Like
yeah.
something's
And
off.
well, I think Robin Williams also had like issues with Harvey Weinstein that like so one of my favorite movies is Good Will Hunting, and I think Harvey like Weinstein's like pull or like influence basically prevented that movie from being like, I guess, wildly pushed as like other movies. So yeah, like it's that
Dude,
much
you're
power.
fucking scaring me because he killed himself, right?
He killed himself, but I think because he had like a form of like Dewey body or Lewy body dementia, which he didn't want to, like, he still wanted to kind of like, I guess, have a choice about whether he wanted to keep his life or not, and
Oh,
end it
okay.
on his own terms. But
Still, I mean, I
it's
don't
still
know him
played.
personally. I'm sure the
Yeah.
shit that happened to him back
But
in the
it's, yeah,
day
no,
still played a fucking
honestly,
role.
like the industry like itself is pretty fucked. Like, and the amount of
You got me
like
scared.
power plays that go on like behind the scenes, and it's like, yeah, like here's another one that's kind of crazy, and like, not to bring up like new players in the field, but not that they're related to this, but I feel like they're saying that like they're trying to make a play as a power couple in Hollywood is
Who?
Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, right?
There's something
Like
off
they're
with them? What you talking
well,
about?
they're saying that like they're trying to establish themselves, or like they're quickly becoming like a new it couple
They
of like
are.
Hollywood. Because again, I mean, Ryan's just fresh off the heels of like, Deadpool, and like he basically kind of reinvigorated Marvel at this point, but he does a lot of producing. He has his own like gin company. He has like a lot of different like side hustles that are like pretty lucrative.
And Blake
Blake,
Lively is like a stellar partner. All right?
right.
Like a stellar woman.
Her recent movie had a lot of controversy because she actually didn't get along with her like main co-star. And
Oh.
so in addition to that, like whenever they're promoting the movie, she just seemed kind of flippant and talking about like, oh, like her other businesses, when this movie's about like domestic violence and mistreatment. And she was not really focusing on the message. So it's like, I think ultimately there's
Ah.
always controversy with everything. But besides the point, going back to like what I was saying earlier, is that like they are, I think, kind of trying to compete to become like the next power couple in Hollywood. And like there's this whole article even talking about how like, you know, um yeah, they're just trying to become, I guess, like these producers, influencers, I guess, in if we're kind of connecting the dots here, kind of in the vein of like a Harvey Weinstein, or like one who has massive pull that like they can influence projects, they can choose who gets funded, who doesn't get funding, who you have to be their friends basically to like have things done in Hollywood, right? And yeah, like if you think about like their cohorts, like Taylor's best friends with Blake Lively, so it's like they already have a major power player on their side. Ryan's close with a lot of people like
Oh,
Hugh
they're deeply,
Jackman.
deeply connected.
Yeah,
Like,
so that's why they're like effectively becoming like a new power couple in Hollywood. And that's the thing, like, you establish yourself and you have that ability to like do things and literally stop people from doing things, or you will force them to your will. And that's fucked up.
it makes you think of so much disgusting things, dude. They say power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. There was this a quote trying to, trying
Mhm.
to grind out why P Diddy or someone in that position would do such a thing. You have all these businesses. You're a millionaire, if not a billionaire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why would you do such a thing? They almost made it sound like humans have innate magnetism for sinning and doing fucked up things.
Well, once you're at that point, right? Like,
It's like a cheat code in your video game of life.
I guess when you have that much power and like, money, like you can have whatever you want, right? So it's like, oh, let me have the taboo shit, which is fucked up. It's like, you know, it's a terrible thing to think about. It's like, for me, I'm like working my ass off just to be able to afford like the better things in life and to build a better life, right? These guys have the opportunity to do it not just tenfold, like 100 times over. And they're like, oh, well, it's gonna feel good? Fucking up someone else's life. It's
Like they have nothing else to like experience, and they just have to yeah, I don't know. That sounds so messed up. Did you see
well,
that
yeah.
picture of the health commissioner who was found in like with paint all over his body and shit with his partner? And he was, I think he was like, don't correct me if I'm wrong. He was like New
Mhm.
York Health Commissioner around the time of COVID. There was a picture of him going to like sex parties after he passed the law that, oh, they shouldn't be doing meetups during COVID. And then he has a picture of that show up.
Yeah.
He has like
Yeah.
he's fucking naked and he has paint, glow in the dark paint. And this is like this old ass white guy with glasses in one side with a suit and him fucking in savage mode, bro. Glow in the dark yellow and orange paint.
I
Fuck.
think for them laws don't apply because they're like the ones who are like, creating and like, dictating law. So they're above the law. It's fucked up, dude. I mean,
It makes it sound fucked up. Like imagine if the cheat code in life turned on for the both of us.
mhm.
Just imagine Gabe and Don, cheat code in life, power, absolutely. Well, what would you do?
I don't know if I'd ever be able to. I guess the thing that I hope keeps me grounded and has kept me grounded is just like putting myself in other people's shoes and how I would want to be treated. And it's like things I would love to do, be able to like fly on like a G5, right? Be able to like skydive and do all these different lavish like shits, right? To do it at the expense of other people's like humanity just feels like a terrible thing. I mean,
I think about it and I'm like, yeah, I want to say that I will be, but that's underestimating the meaning of absolute.
right.
I could see myself being good for a while, but I don't know if I could fight the senses truly, truly, truly within me, buried deep, that have not peered its head yet because I
Mhm.
don't know the meaning of absolute. Fly to G5, fly to G6, do that. Do that every day if you wanted to.
Right.
But,
But
maybe 2 years from then, I don't know.
I mean, again, you can keep on pushing the envelope, right? I think this is why people like to do like
I know.
harder drugs. Like that's why heroin and cocaine always feel great because it's like it gives you the rush, right? But I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, like there's always a price to be paid.
Oh, realistically, yeah. P. Diddy
Yeah.
has end up in fucking prison right now.
Absolute power sounds great, and you feel like you could like wield and extend it. But I always think to myself, it'll come back. Like
Yes.
depending on how you treat people, it'll come back. So again, I can't answer that either, right? Because I
Hmm.
don't know how I would be. I'm not going to also claim that I'm like
A devout,
or-
like a
or
straight,
devout or
a
like a
saint.
saint. I'm definitely not. I'm as human as they go, but ultimately, I think I just really hail back to like put yourself in other people's shoes and just ask yourself, is that like would I feel good if I were treated that way? And I think that's what keeps me grounded.
Yeah, I'd like to think that as well for myself too, bro.
Yeah, like I genuinely hope that if let's say someday, a few years from now, we end up being like we're just gonna go on a yacht, out in the Mediterranean.
I don't know if my dreams aren't that big and I need to dream larger, but I don't know if I'll ever get to experience that in my life, man.
A fun one that I like to quote, but
You trying to get invited?
to what? No,
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 go
no.
ahead. Your quote.
Ambitious people all want to go up to Mount Everest, and those people are still there. Their
true.
ambition was so high, they end up dying on Mount
Dying
Everest.
on Mount Everest.
Taking the story of like kind of Icarus, right? Like, oh, you can fly close to the sun, but you'd also have your wings melt and you'll just completely crash and drown. So
It's a goddamn shame that P. Diddy's wings did not melt for such a long time.
it took way too long.
I saw an image on Twitter
Mhm.
where it had Judgment Day. It's called like a list of all these celebrities. Judgment Day is coming for them. And a bunch of names were X'd out. The people who have either died or are in jail already. Like R. Kelly, all that shit.
Yeah, R. Kelly's a big one.
Diddy. And there's other names on this list
Who else is on
that
the list?
haven't. I have to bookmark it, but one notable one was Ellen DeGeneres was on this list.
Ooh.
And there have been videos of P. Diddy and Ellen DeGeneres getting a little bit cozy with each other. Not cozy with each other, but like they're being very friendly. And all the weirdo allegations surrounding Ellen DeGeneres already about how she's like a drama queen on set. Like she's kind of wilding, like J-Lo-ish.
She's not as
And-
nice as her show or how her persona is like said to be.
I'm gonna try to find it because there was a lot of like names on this thing, dude.
if you look through like the Epsteins, like the Weinsteins and all of them, they rub shoulders with like other people, like, and I know she's like a very like popular one, of course, Oprah.
Yeah, Oprah was on that list. Oprah, I remember seeing Oprah on that, and I was like, Oprah for reals?
Yeah, because Oprah has like, I'm not trying to say anything, but it is like she is rubbing shoulders with all of them. Like they're like not just simply like meeting at a party, they're like cozy and like best friends ish. So it's
With
just like
who?
Oprah was like friends with like Harvey Weinstein, with Jeffrey
Ah,
Epstein, with like all these guys. So it's
with
just like,
Ghislaine Maxwell. She's hanging out with Ghislaine.
yeah, it's definitely there. So yeah, like
Can I ask you a
yeah.
real fucked up question, especially about this
What's
Diddy
up?
thing?
Hmm.
Do you think Diddy will make it to the trial?
He will.
You think so?
I think he will because there's
I
already
don't
like
think so, bro.
there's a precedent set already with like, well, I saw an article where like he's not been eating because he's afraid people are gonna poison his food. Um,
Yeah, I would be too, dude.
I feel like there's a precedent already set with Epstein because there's a whole bunch of memes that say Epstein didn't kill himself. So, I mean, who knows? We could record this right now and then watch like 48 hours later, just like, oh, my guy died, and like all this information of ours is basically like dated, right? But I think he'll make it the trial, and reckoning's gonna happen, or he's gonna have a plea deal, and he'll be forever canceled, but he won't say a word or something like that. You know? Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Ellen DeGeneres Strikes Back. Mean, old, and gay. The Triple Crown. Huh. Interesting.
It was right
But
in our
yeah.
faces. There were other podcasts where they were saying that like young and up and coming rappers would get drugged at his parties, sodomized, and
Oh
then
yeah.
they would use that as like leverage to be like, "Yo, why don't you sign a 360 deal with Bad Boy, son? Come on." And when they say no, it's like a video of him getting effed by three dudes. Like, oh my Lord Jesus Christ, man.
Gee. That's
From what I hear, what Diddy is up against, this this entity that is going against Diddy doesn't even play ball unless they know they have you 100%.
it's funny now that like we're kind of looking at this happen. And again, more than like 6 months ago, like Drake was kind of being accused of like
Oh
working with
my
like
Lord Jesus,
now like
Don.
that feels kind of like a
I'm gonna
molehill
see, yo,
compared to the mountain of shit that we're seeing from this thing,
dude,
right?
fuck all of that shit that you just said. Oh, okay, we'll watch it back in the day. If P Diddy doesn't make it to the trial, I'm gonna tell you right now, there is no reason why we just ayo'd pedophile line. Drake is legitimately, I will call it now, a pedophile, and no one is doing anything about it because
Well,
there is this weird gray area of whatever. But I would not be surprised if in the future he goes down for something similar to this. That's like a crazy. That's a crazy
yeah,
allegation. I
and
almost want to
can
highlight it. I almost don't want to highlight it because it's like that's a wild thing to say.
but if it does happen, we can look back on this being like a very watershed moment because it's like I think about that whole deal, but then Kendrick went in and he was like, don't tell any lies about me and I won't tell truths about you. And it's like, fuck.
Kendrick is wise enough not to play with that word on another man's name. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like he wouldn't be saying that just for shock value and rumor. And these are accusations which I believe we should not be just taking for a grain of salt, if that is the phrase. Like it's whatever. No, this is some crazy wild shit. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with us humans, Don. You know, when you think about it, when you're younger, you like to think that, life is innocent and those things are just wild, crazy thoughts. Those are just as imaginable as the monster in your closet. But
Right.
no, they're actually real. Isn't that fucked up? Like we grew up to find out that the monsters in the closet are real.
Yeah, and it's always been there though. We live in modern day society where we're hearing about these things, right? But we don't really see them. But then if you think about like the 1400s, the the 1200s, like the BCs of like humanity, and it's like human sacrifice. Like you can't even reason with people. People are just like, I will kill you because my God demands your heart to be on this altar. You're also different from me. And like, yeah, you'll just see the most unimaginable cruel things of people. And so we've become more civilized, but now it's like people are humans are still cruel. People are still capable of cruelty. Russia's still at war with Ukraine. Where like they're like,
Oh
that's
my
our
god,
land.
don't even get me fucking started with that shit. That's one
Yeah,
shit I
like the
don't
rest
want
of
to
the
talk
world.
about on podcast because I'm hella opinionated on that.
Yeah, no, don't worry. Trust me. Like, I'm not here to comment on it. I'm just saying that, like, if you think about the cruelty of the world, it's like those things are still happening, and
It's
yeah,
absolutely crazy, dude. I will say
yeah,
this. It's absolutely mind blowing. Mind blowing. I cannot even fathom
yeah,
that I am living a life where a race was just eliminated. I can't even like think about that. That's like not even in the scope of like my control at all. But it is
mm,
true. It is in it, we, I've lived a life where a race was pretty much wiped out. That's fucking crazy. Say what you want
yeah,
about it, left or right. But that is the
yeah.
wildest shit. I can't even, that is the most saddest shit ever, dude. Like
I know.
how far have we gone down on this wildness?
That's the thing, dude. I feel like that is that is a side of humanity that does exist. Yeah, humans can be terrible, and then like when terrible things happen, like this is the flip side of it. Like I watch a lot of Jon Stewart, and Jon Stewart, I think I feel like echoes a lot of opinions that I like really do share. It's like, for example, one thing that he I think finds like inspiring is that, or like just kind of like seeing like the glimmers of hope in humanity, right? Is that when bad things happen, like two planes hit, like like the Twin Towers, right? And you just see a bunch of people rushing into that flames. Like you'd think more people are like trying to rush out of there, and here are a committed group of human beings who are rushing in there, knowing that they could die also, but they're there to try and save people. And I think that's the type of thing that also kind of keeps me motivated. Not to be like the
No,
simple like
it's. I'm very happy that you said that because like we were just talking
yeah
about how fucking garbage people can be, but like yes, there are real examples of true heroes out there who are willing to risk everything for what is right.
yeah, and that's like to have people that just again like that flame is not like a normal flame. That flame is like again incinerator. Like you go in there and there's not going to be like a piece of you left, and yet there are guys and girls running into like rushing to that building just trying to help their fellow human being. And I think that to me is like heroism. That is like I think what I find as like the best in humanity. Like when you see bad things happen, there's also the flip side of people just being there, like ready to rush in like a crisis, right? And I think that's what keeps me going, of course, man. Despite
It's
hearing all this like crappiness about the world today, right? No.
I always used to think weirdly, even when I was like a kid. Like I don't know what
Hmm.
the fuck, but I used to ask my mom, or I asked my mom one time, like, is there more good things in life, or are there more bad things?
Hmm.
And then she said, "Oh, there's more good things." And I was like, "Huh? How does that make any sense?" I remember saying, "I feel like there was a lot more bad things that you could do in life
Hmm.
compared to how many little good things that you could do." Like it just felt. I don't know why I would say that. Like when you're a psychologist and then you look at a kid and you're like, "Why would they say that?" Right? I felt like it was like one of
Yeah.
those weirdo moments. But I was kind of like analyzing the world, and like the way that I thought
Hmm.
then is like there is a lot more bad shit that can happen. That bad is outweighing the good like by tenfold. That's how I felt.
Right. Right. My perspective, I think there's an equal amount of good and bad.
There
Um.
is, there is. This we
Yeah.
know for sure there is.
Yeah.
But
But damn, dude. Yeah. Shit. That's a lot of heavy stuff the past. Like, it's funny, like, hearing all these things. And yeah, I guess I try not to be, like, too focused on the bad, not to be ignorant of it, of course, either. But it's like, yeah, it's a lot of, like,
I can't wait because if the trial is here, then we're gonna be talking about the trial. I wish we was
we've been
doing the
talking.
podcast during the the Johnny Depp and whatever her
Oh, like
face
Amber Heard.
Amber Heard trial, because that was a crazy moment for content creators, dog. Everyone had to go. Everyone and their mothers was making videos about that shit.
Everything could be built upon, but that's again also why like I've seen enough TikTok and Instagram reels about like again Kendrick and Drake, and it's just like like people are diving like these introspectives, talking about the lyrics, talking about the backgrounds, and it's like yeah, like I was like really like deep into that stuff. Actually, all this is now making me want to read more into the whole like Diddy thing because again, I've always thought Diddy was guilty for his complicitness in Biggie's death, but yeah, he's also been like a big puppet master behind everything. Just like people love control, and it's yeah, I guess when you think about what you would do, especially as you gain more power, then kind of revisiting and reflecting on it now, it's like, yeah, if you love control and you must maintain control, you're gonna do dirty things to keep people in line. And I guess Diddy at some point was like, well, I'm no longer a rapper, I'm a producer and I'm a mogul, but I must stay relevant and I must control people. And so, yeah, like he would do that. And I think that kind of became a thing sort of with Drake, where again, he's kind of an aging rapper, but trying to stay relevant. So, in order for himself to keep relevant, he's going to buy artists out and be like, okay, you're going to have to feature me. I own your music now, so at least I can keep myself relevant.
He's just trying to play it God mode as best as he can with the power that he has.
Right. And he did that with like The Weeknd, which I feel like also like, messed with The Weeknd's head too, which is why he's also
It makes me a fan of The Weeknd though.
I like The Weeknd. I really like his music. Although I do think when he came out with The Idol, Johnny Depp's daughter, I forget her name, but yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, I didn't watch the show. But like in terms of The Weeknd, honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of The Weeknd's music. I have to say, I'm not. But after hearing about what happened with him and Drake, it made me more of a fan to know that like, oh, it's so nice that he actually stuck it to Drake and is actually uber successful, bro. Like he's almost in Super Bowl contention. Didn't he perform Super Bowl? Am I wilding? He did. Holy shit, dude. That's how big of a celebrity he is. So I'm like, that's really, really nice. Like he did not get fucked. He actually said, fuck you back. So it's pretty cool.
Actually, quick aside, not talking about like, just to switch it up a bit, but so talking a little bit about Kendrick, but talking about the other person who I really want to talk about. So
who?
Kendrick got announced to be the Super Bowl performer.
I got so fucking scared. I got so scared.
Right. Oh, nothing bad, right? But
no. I got scared if they said he's actually performing the Super Bowl. I'm worried about that Super Bowl performance. But go ahead.
Why?
Go ahead. You first.
Why?
All right. I'll tell you. Because 100% he is going to play and perform that diss song.
And as long as he doesn't do it for like 6 minutes straight, like he did in like LA, which I found
that was a little bit lame. After like the 6th time,
it was a little tacky. Like he did like 4 renditions of the same damn song, which there's a joke on his announcement video that he's gonna do like a full set of the same damn song.
No, fuck no.
Who didn't get it and was vying for it because they're performing, in NOLA, I believe, is Lil Wayne.
Ooh, that would have been so good.
And Lil Wayne, he put up on his Instagram, like he was very vulnerable because he really wanted it. And he was trying not to show how upset he was about not getting it, but he was very raw. And it was, I felt bad because, yeah, when I think about like rap artists who I've also enjoyed and think have such a heavy influence in the game is Lil Wayne. I mean, like prior to your Kendrick, yeah, Lil Wayne was easily one of the most influential and greatest rappers of our generation too. And so it's just kind of sad that like he didn't get it. It'd be cool if he actually got to perform for the Super Bowl. And New Orleans would have been like again his Super Bowl.
That would have been his Super Bowl, bro.
I know, and they gave it to Kendrick, and I do love Kendrick, but I do feel it's kind of like, but maybe they might have him feature, but at the same time, I think it would have been cool if Lil Wayne had an opportunity to, or had the opportunity to make that his Super Bowl too.
Oh, just the fact that it's in New Orleans makes me so sad now. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's I just brought that up because I read, and saw again like his reel about it, and just like, damn, it's heartbreaking because past the whole drama, this is a guy who again has like a stake in that city, especially, and then he also really wanted to do it. And
I haven't seen that reel on.
I gotta show it to you. I'll send it.
It's actually him talking about it.
Yeah, hold on, let me see.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's his second post, just kind of reflecting on it and just being raw, and even like Nicki Minaj.
Imagine he would have 100% brought out Nicki Minaj and maybe Drake. That would have been awesome. That would have been like the ill trifecta.
If Drake won the war, then Lil Wayne probably could have gotten the Super Bowl thing, and then it would have been like a Young Money type of reunion. I don't know. Like that's kind of like my intrusive thoughts kind of thinking here that it's like, because
I don't think
like,
Wayne's that fucking bitter.
No, he's not.
Like,
but in fact, quite the opposite. Lil Wayne should probably be pissed at Drake because Drake slept with his girlfriend while he was in prison. That's again,
fucking crazy because when they asked Lil Wayne about that shit, I don't know why, but I don't know. It looked like he truly believed that like he didn't know the girl anymore or like he didn't care. Like he played it off really well. You couldn't tell that he was like kind of salty about it at all. He was like, huh? Oh, all right, yeah.
But he was salty.
He was salty. He was salty?
Yeah, I have to find the video also, but I'm pretty sure Lil Wayne was like really
he knew.
salty. Well, yeah, he knew, but of course, like Drake apologized, and Drake got a tattoo.
He got a tattoo of him, which is like,
what? Yeah, but then of course, after the fact, and like Drake's still like hollering at young girls like Millie Bobby Brown and stuff like that.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. This has been an episode full of music industry controversies. It didn't even meant to be that way. But
dude, this felt like a what do you call? Who's the guy from Pump It Up?
Pump It Up?
Hold on, let me look it up right now. Shit. Joe Budden. I felt like this is like a Joe Budden podcast episode today. We're like talking about music and drama and all that stuff,
Oh, bro.
Yeah, but
dude, to wrap, what's looking forward for your week? What are you doing, man? Real quick.
Friend's birthday Friday evening, so gonna go to that. You're more than welcome to come through also. Just gonna be going into the city. Probably gonna go to the gym first.
When is that?
This Friday.
Friday evening. Where?
In the city. Madam X.
Maybe.
Well,
cool. Yeah. I'll talk about it with you. Dude, we missed you on last Saturday for my boy's birthday, but it was okay. Yeah, it was very, very short lived. Your boy got way too crunk.
Sorry, like I said, I was just so busy, and like again, I got roped into.
No, I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you.
Like I wanted to go, but who else was there that night though?
A lot of people actually came out and showed out.
And you guys
are trying to list it all.
I enjoy karaoke, of course, so
I didn't get enough karaoke fix. I will tell you that. Like I thought I would get my itch scratched on my boy's birthday. Pause. But no, did not hit. It was still a good time, but in terms of karaoke, it really didn't hit. Saddens me.
How many hours of karaoke did you guys get?
2, realistically, an hour and a half.
Dang. Wait, from like what time is it? Like from 7 to 9, basically.
So yeah, 7 to 9. It really wasn't that bad, but the birthday boy got a little too turned up, and everything came to a halt. It's been a good time. I'm excited. I hope you're excited for the next week as well.